As if DJ Who Kid wasn't enough, my pal DDP has entered the room.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a former champion of the world in WCW and now champion of the world of DDP Yoga.
Yeah, you got
filmmaker.
Filmmaker, man. That's the biggest. That's the thing I want to talk about the most.
Yeah. I mean, Who Kid, I was trying to explain to you because Who Kid knows Diamond Dallas Page from the world of wrestling. I'm sure you very much heard about him in the hip hop world when all the Jay-Z hand gesture controversies were starting. But before it was The Rock, before it was the Illuminati, it was the Diamond Cutter.
Before the Illuminati. Let's go all the way to the fucking. Let's go to the front.
Damn.
Front class.
Origins.
Yeah, exactly. But
let me see. You got it right here.
Yeah. See, look at the bottle.
Drinking vanilla.
Yeah.
I'm drinking the hand sign.
Oh, my bad.
Diamond Cutter.
See?
Diamond Cutter.
But DDP is one of the few guys who's been able to transition out of wrestling, and now, I mean, he's more successful and probably happier as every day passes.
And more relaxed.
Yeah, I mean, he is.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go too much about relaxed. I'm pretty high energy.
For real? I thought it was a spiritual thing.
But I don't do yoga.
Oh.
See, I developed a yoga for people who wouldn't be caught dead doing yoga. I'm not shitting you, man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because I was one of those guys. Like Russell Simmons, like he is into the whole yoga culture. Very cool. And I appreciate all that, but it wasn't me.
I appreciate that.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Over here.
But for me, it changed my career. Like they said I was done wrestling. I didn't start wrestling until I was 35. My career took off when I was 40.
40 years old.
How old are you now, new kid?
44.
44, you're a baby. You see, my career was blowing up when I was 42, and then I blew my back out, and they said it was over.
Oh, wow.
I'm the guy who wouldn't be caught dead doing yoga the first 42 years of my life, so I get it. But when it changes your life, and all of a sudden you go from not being able to wrestle ever again to becoming a 3-time world champion, I'm going to stick with that.
Fuck that.
I mean, how old are you now?
Yeah.
I'm 3 months from 60.
Okay.
Wow.
He's almost 60
Holy
years old.
shit.
Do you know when his last match was?
What the fuck?
You know when his last match was?
No, not last year.
Last year. He was in the Royal Rumble.
I showed up at the Rumble, hit a
Get
couple
the
cutters.
fuck out of here, dog.
Yeah.
There is hope. I'm gonna do it.
And let me
Sing it.
and let me tell you how smart DDP is, and I don't know how he does it. Because I mean, we've made so many jokes about Vince McMahon and wanting to own all his properties and making people change their names, and every word that shows up on that TV show has to be his property. All of a sudden, last year at the Royal Rumble, DDP's music hits. And what's he got on? Not his wrestling gear, a big DDP Yoga T-shirt.
Brandon, brother.
Yeah.
Brandon. I tell you, when I went there,
That's hot.
when we brought Jake in, when I got the call, because Jake was in that dark spot for so long, he'd been like banned.
Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yeah, Jake the Snake Roberts. He was banned by the WWE. He was like like he was never coming back whole. Like he'd just been so dark, and. For him to get the call to show up on, we have this thing, it's old school Raw. The old timers come in and, pops the place because everybody knows who Jake Snake Roberts is, and they hadn't seen him in 16 years.
Shit.
So on that day, they had me come back, and they let me do a commercial in the back, which was pretty damn sweet.
Yeah.
That's
They-
crazy.
It shut down, that time I was on Raw, it shut down the site. I'm not kidding. It shut down the site because we got so many hits. And I'll tell you what it made me do, because later on, when we'd be on Shark Tank, we put on 27 servers.
Whoa.
Damn, just to fucking regulate on that shit?
Hey, well, when you get hit, if you get shut down because of your
Backups.
overload, you're done. So all that exposure, we did $122,000 in sales in 3 hours.
3 hours.
In 3 hours.
Holy
In
shit.
the next,
I mean, who kid? You can't even make that with your payola scandals.
Hell no.
So you never fell into the pill culture in wrestling?
and that's a funny story, because Jake and I, when Jake had come in, I met Jake in my nightclub. That's where I met him back when I was running a place in Fort Myers, Florida.
Wow.
And I was in the back. Now, I tried wrestling when I was 22. and it didn't work out for me. And I guess some things aren't ready to work out when you want them to.
Totally.
And maybe you come back again. So at this point, I'm not even in wrestling or anything. I'm running the hottest nightclub from Sarasota to Cuba. It's like the spot. And the guys, if they were wrestling, they might wrestle in Tampa and then Miami. Well, that's 300 miles, almost 270 miles. Right in the middle is Fort Myers. So they would come through there and have a cocktail.
Gotcha.
And I'm sitting in the back, and the camera's on the back door and front door, and it's about I got about 12 bartenders, maybe about 800 people in there on the weekdays.
On the weekdays.
On the weekdays.
Wow.
Yeah, on Wednesday we'd be jamming. A weekend we put 1,200 people in there, and it was rocking. But it was a weekday, and I'm seeing the line, and I'm looking at it, I go, fucking guy looks like Jake Roberts. And he comes walking in the door. So I go outside and I come up to Judy, who's the girl at the counter. I go, did some guy just walk in here and look like Jake Roberts? She goes, yeah. She goes, I think it's him. I go, get out of here. So because I have no idea. They're not in town. He's in Tampa. So I come zooming around the corner. When I see him, I slow down. It's got to be cool, right?
Right, of course.
And I just go rushing up on him. I go, hey, man. I go, you Jake Roberts? He goes, yeah, I am. Who wants to know? I said, I'm Paige Day, bro. I run this place. He goes, good to meet you. I go, hey, get us a couple shots. And that's how it started. We were drinking buddies.
Right.
And then Ted DiBiase would come in, the Bushwhackers.
Oh, my God.
All those guys came through. So now when Jake's comes to WCW, he comes to the power plant the one day that I'm there, and it's like, Paige, you're wrestling now? I go, yeah. He goes, I thought that was you, because he didn't know, because Paige Falkenberg and Diamond Dallas Page.
Yeah.
So, we're out, and I'm pretty much his chauffeur, trying to learn whatever I can learn. And, I watch him. We're in a nightclub, and he throws a pill in his mouth, starts chewing on it. And
that's how. By the way, okay, that's what I say when I say pill culture in wrestling. Yeah. That's the degree to which they're taking pills. They're chewing up their pills.
They're not even no liquid, no water.
Just eating them like M&Ms.
I asked him. I said, is that a Percocet that you just chewed? Yeah. And he said, yeah. And I know he's eaten like 5 or 6 of them that I've seen.
Right.
And
Holy
I'm like,
shit.
How many is that? He's, I don't know, 9 or 10.
What?
Yeah, 9 or 10.
He's on like 10 perks.
Yeah.
And he's chewing up.
And I'm like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
First of all, they taste like shit.
Yeah.
So why would you do this?
The numbness alone is like ridiculous.
And he said it goes right into your bloodstream.
If you chew it up.
And I said, but you just took one a little while ago. He goes, yeah. He goes, well, once you start taking them, you got to take more because they lose their effectiveness.
What?
Yeah. So this is one of the things, like a WWE right now, and I always bring this up anytime I talk about pills. The WWE has the strictest wellness program, way bigger than the NFL, because there's a lot of dudes jacked up there on the gimmick and the pills for after, because they're the punishment they're putting their bodies through.
I thought it was natural when they were diesel and stuff like that.
Right. So,
that's sweet, who kid.
But they really monitor that shit, And back then though, there was no monitoring.
Hell no.
Like I know guys that take 5 somas, and those are muscle relaxers. And then you're taking 5 more. And then maybe they take 5 more. And then they maybe forgot they took those 5, so they take 5 more.
Because they're fucked up from everything else they're doing, too.
Plus drinking. So this all wears your body down.
Yeah.
And it just, put the painkillers in, it breaks your body down. So for me, I took them. But I took them when I needed them, and maybe I socially did it 3 times where I said, oh, this is a good buzz. And I stopped doing that. Because I needed them to work.
Right.
I was 35. I was 38. I was 40 years old.
I'm going to have a real pain.
Right.
I need to be able to take these pain pills for when I have pain.
Yeah, if I take 3 of them, I want them to work.
Yeah, yeah.
That's so crazy, because when I used to watch wrestling, I never thought like there's a drug culture. I know that maybe the steroid bullshit is there, obviously, but I never look at wrestlers like
party, dude. Those guys.
They never show that side. Like,
Of course not.
That's
Of course
crazy.
not.
Yeah.
You think the NFL? Are you kidding me?
so also they treated it like, so they don't show like the party life of wrestlers, like they're partying heavy, going
Well, they're not
hard.
doing it anymore.
Back,
now
back
it's a
in
totally
our
different.
day, dude. Yeah, today they're playing video games.
Right.
Really?
Right.
Really?
And doing fucking DDP yoga and stuff in their hotel room. Like it's a totally different.
Holy shit.
Different animal, man. It's a different
But
animal.
yeah, they would never show. Like you don't find out. I didn't find out until much later that all this was going on because that's when all the wrestlers start doing books and there's documentaries and the internet comes out and all of a sudden you realize there was this whole other world that was going on behind this kind of
So you guys
living
tell me
cartoon.
Andre the Giant, fucking all
Dude,
those
you
guys.
should. Everybody, and I'll let DDP talk
Come
about it.
on, man. Andre the Giant.
Everybody-
I don't know. They all have a story. Everybody has their
Come
own
on,
story.
man.
Well, let me
Right.
ask you a question. Do you remember the show that was on ESPN for one season? It was called Players. Did you see it?
Oh,
I don't-
yeah. No, that was
It was
old.
about-
That's old.
No. This was a football. It was a
football show?
This was a football show
Oh, no.
that showed what happened like behind the scenes
Oh,
of
that's
the
where
Dallas
that-
Cowboys,
that's
not
where-
the Cowboys,
That's
but
where, what's his name? What's his name? The one that's in the Fast and Furious.
no.
Tyrese?
No. This is about 10 years ago. This is about
Okay.
10 years. But it
Oh,
might have
okay.
been more than that. But what happened? They showed the steroids. They showed the pills, the broads, the strip joints. They showed everything.
Right.
And next thing you know, NFL was knocking on their door saying, "You still want to play the NFL on ESPN?" That show disappears now,
Get the fuck out of here.
and it
That's
was
crazy.
gone.
See ya.
Wow.
Because that show was hot. When you got a hot show on TV
Yeah.
and it disappears,
Right.
there's a reason.
Right. And there's not too many. I mean, there's not too many organizations in terms of making money bigger than the NFL.
I don't. Is there one?
I don't think so.
You just fucked up
I don't
my
think so.
whole
Yeah.
image of this shit. Like Junkyard Dog, Lou Albano, like all them, like all those dudes. Like
But now you can't put everybody in a pot.
I
You know?
wouldn't, but I'm just
You
like
can't,
I
like
never,
anything.
I would never think that when I was young. I thought wrestling was real number one.
Well,
Right.
that's the beginning of it.
Yeah, that's the beginning of the
Well, I
shit.
mean, you also thought that we're kids. You thought people coming out, acting like maniacs were just being themselves, not playing a character.
I mean, I'm from the era where they would cut themselves and there's blood everywhere and
Right.
shit like that. So
Right.
that's
But
what I
again,
used to see.
people, that's what connected with people, because that's real.
Yeah.
Well, you're damn right it's real because it's pouring out all over his forehead.
How do you, because you've done that before, right? You've
Yeah.
had the blade before. How do you psychologically, I would imagine
shit.
after a few times, it's just something you do.
Well, again, look at my forehead. You can tell I didn't do it hardly now. I did
That's
it a
what I
couple
had to
times.
look at your forehead before I asked you.
Oh, you
when
can
I-
see that?
I mean, dude,
Oh.
I'll show you pictures because the
Come on,
old
man.
school wrestling guys like Dusty
Oh,
Rhodes you bring
yeah,
up,
yeah.
you look at a photo and their heads,
Scars?
oh my gosh.
Get the fuck out of
It looks like, not cottage cheese, but there's just
It's
lines
think
running
about-
through it
here's
the
what
whole
happens.
time.
Here's what happens when your body breaks down and you hurt your back, your knee, your hip. You get a surgery. It creates scar tissue.
Right.
You hurt it again. It creates scar tissue. This is where inflexibility comes in. And scar tissue causes pain. Now, on your forehead, it creates more and more like thicker, and it becomes like when you cut as many like that, you just literally it becomes like a mat.
Right.
Because there's only so many times you can cackle. For me, I did it for some bigger matches.
Sure.
And there's times where I did it and I didn't do it. Like it was hard way. Like that shit. Okay, that shit's real.
Right.
Because
yeah,
now
by
I'm
mistake,
swollen
yeah.
there too.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, hard way, that's when they would hit you, right?
Right.
So hard way, I've read, is what the older school guys would do, and it's they're not cutting themselves. And I'll bet some of the people that you were watching when you were a kid would do it. Apparently, what is it? Right above your eyebrow, right?
Right.
Right above your eyebrow. It's very easy to make you bleed, break the skin, and it bleeds easily.
Yeah.
So what these older guys would do was they would hit you hard as they could, right above the eyebrow, bust you right open, and then you got some color,
Yeah.
and then you got some blood on your face, and that's hard way.
True OG right there.
So you would have to do. So who would do that to you
Well, no, I'm saying you did it in the match. Like you got hit so hard.
by mistake?
Yes.
Man,
Yeah.
do you remember that happening with anybody in particular?
Well, the one time that I actually had him do it to me was the match is supposed to be Steve Austin had a great match. One of my favorite matches with him and Bret Hart. The
Right.
one that really made Steve. And he got blood just
All over the
blood
place.
everywhere. But he passed maxed out. So I'm wrestling Scotty Steiner, who's an animal. He's an animal in the ring, and he's so believable on so many different. And I had some of my best matches with Scotty. We had great matches together.
But Scott Steiner is one of these guys, and people don't know in the wrestling world, some guys are gentle.
No, but Scotty's not like that. No, Scotty does not hit that hard.
He doesn't hit hard.
He went to hit me with a belt so many times. He never hit me once. Every
Really?
time, it looked like he ripped my head off. Now, the night we're supposed to do it, where he's going to hit me with a belt, and I'm going to bleed out, I'm going to cut myself. But I've got these tapes on my wrists, and both of them have been unraveled, and I don't know where I lost the blade.
You lost your little razor.
So I look up at Scotty, and I go, dude, I lost the blade. He's like, oh man. And I look over to the referee. I go, I'm laying on my back. I go, Red Nick, you got a blade? He's like, no, I ain't got one. I'm like,
The referee?
If he's got a blade in his pocket.
sometimes he'd have an extra one, you know?
No way.
And I looked back at Scotty. I said, come with a belt, bro. Because I'm not passing out with the blood. I'm not doing it. If he knocks me out with the belt, he knocks me out with the belt.
So you're saying he's going to take the championship belt and he's going to slam you as hard as he can with it.
He's going to come with it. And you'll see me normally where I would be gone, at the last second. This is one of right before the matches, right before WCW went down.
Yeah.
It's the last man standing match.
Is that pay-per-view?
Yeah, it was a pay-per-view.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, and right the last second you'll see me tilt my head.
Yeah.
Like I go into it. Like
God.
nobody goes into a punch.
No.
Everyone goes away from a punch. In real life, Muhammad Ali, I don't care who it is.
That's not even your natural instinct.
No.
Like you have to
in a punch like, see ya.
Yeah.
And I had, but when he hit me, dude, boom! It was like it was a real bump, you know.
Holy.
Oh.
And I'm a little dazed.
Yeah.
And I looked up at him. I could just imagine those little Tweety birds over.
Yeah.
And I go, did we get it? And he looks right before he stops me. He goes, oh, we got it. And he stopped me right in the face, and the blood freaking went all everywhere.
Holy.
And WCW's thing was about blood. They pulled the cameras back.
No.
I was so pissed off.
No.
I was so pissed
No.
off. You can see I'm bleeding, but it doesn't look like I'm bleeding.
Right.
And it doesn't look like that. I was so pissed off.
Oh, and you actually had to get legit hit with the thing. You probably got concussed.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course.
I'll tell you, my favorite story involves Scott Hall and Randy Macho Man Savage. Yeah, brother.
Brother.
And you had a ton of matches with the Macho Man.
We were feud of the year.
Yeah.
And that was the same time that Bret Hart was with Stone Cold. They were in second place. And the PWI, we were the feud of the year, which was pretty sweet.
Wow.
And on our second match, I was walking backstage. My wife was one of my valets. And I'm walking with her, and I go, did I just wrestle? She goes, what? I'm looking down. I'm wearing my shit. I'm like, did I just wrestle?
No way.
She goes, stop it, Paige. You're scaring me. I go, what the fuck? Where the fuck? Is this fucking Nitro? I go, what happened? Did I just wrestle? She goes, no.
You don't even know if you're on Nitro.
I didn't know where I'm walking. And it was like God beams me into my body.
Holy
It just
shit.
snaps on at one point. You don't know anything that just happened before it.
Nothing. So now
Yeah.
I need to fucking know what the fuck happened.
Yeah. And you're getting angry.
So I go, what happened? She goes, it's the Great American Bash.
What?
You just wrestled Randy Savage. Now I'm like, uh-oh. What happened?
Yeah.
So what happens is I know that we're near the end of the match. Now, you have to understand when it gets to a match in a pay-per-view and you're the main event, if it's set for 3 hours, you have to stop at 2. You have to have everything in at 2 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds.
Right.
You got to be done. You got to be going home.
Right.
So I can remember that the ref going, go home. That means like we're running out of time. Go the fuck home.
Right.
Like he's screaming. And the last thing I
Yeah, you
heard,
know when the referee's screaming, go home, it's like, forget about pretending anything. Go home.
Out of here.
Yeah.
So Savage comes off the top. God rest his soul. He's such an awesome dude, man. He come off the road. And now I'd been asking him, Randy, because he'd land right on my ribs. And I pissed blood for 13 out of 15 weeks. I mean, blood like your friggin' mittens you got on.
Get the fuck out of here.
Like looking
What?
down going, what the fuck? I went to my own doctor because if I went to our doctor, WCW's, they'd say you're off.
Right.
I'm not getting off right now.
No, I'm in there with Macho Man.
I'm
It's
at
not
the top
happening.
of the world
Yeah.
right now, you know? So I said, Randy, do me a favor. Don't land on my ribs, bro. I'm pissing red blood, man.
Yeah.
And I'd actually gone to camera. I'm going, come here, look. You know, so
What the?
You're showing
make him
him.
look like in a toilet, dude. Look. And so you think I was bullshitting, right? So I said, just land on my stomach, man. Land towards the middle. I said, I have the same effect. And that night he landed on my face.
God,
And when he lands on my face,
And you're like, blood coming out of my face is not that much better than out of my dick, Randy.
so what happens is prior to that, Scott Hall gets in the ring and he hits me with the belt. So I must have been on fucking Queer Street right there because he picks me up and gives me his razor's edge and drops me down. Then Randy comes off the top and hits me in the face.
Oh.
the
I'm
double
like,
whammy. Holy
What
shit!
happened next? She said, you sat up and you'll see this. I start to sit up like Undertaker.
No way.
As Scott's raising
What?
Randy's hands in front of me, and I lay back down. Like I only went up a little bit, about halfway, and I lay back down, and it goes to dark. I mean, now we're done, right? The show's over.
Yes.
I sit up again. Thank God the cameras are not on.
Right.
I stagger to my feet. These guys are looking at me. They're like, "What the fuck is he doing?" This would be like if John Wayne and Clint Eastwood filled you full of 20 friggin' and Scarface
you
filled
still-
you full of gun
you
holes,
still get up,
and you
right?
still get up and go, "Hey, didn't hurt me," you know. So I go to, I stumble back, fall between the two ropes, fall out to the floor, give them both the finger.
What are you doing?
And walk down the aisle. And she's thinking, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, oh, that's not good.
No.
This is not good at all. So I go in the locker room.
Yeah.
Well, I know they're not far behind.
Right.
And I put one of those tables, those tables we fall through are real tables.
Okay.
You know? So I put that table in front of me.
Yeah.
So at least I have time before I get bum rushed
Because they're
here.
going to want to kick the shit out of
No,
you
they
for
really-
no selling
like,
their moves.
Oh, yeah, dude, like this is serious fighting
Oh
shit.
my
Yeah.
God!
And man, they kicked that door open. What the fuck? And all I said was, I was fucking knocked out.
Yeah.
I was fucking knocked out. They're like, boom. I go, I was fucking knocked out. And I fucking threw the table out of the way. I go, if you think I'm bullshitting, let's go. I would never lie about that. Fuck you. And they walked away. Right? So I go, okay, we got to wait for that. Thank God. So freaking, I'm taking a shower. I'm like, what the fuck's over here? That feels kind of weird. And then get in the car with my old lady. I'm like, man, that feels really weird. I feel like, whoa. And then it was like up a golf ball, right? So again, I don't go to WCW, and so I got to go to the doctor.
Hell no.
I go to the emergency room on my own. By this time, it's like a small baseball in my mouth. And he's like, you are seriously concussed here, and you can't go in that ring for at least a week. I went, okay, thank you. Got in the car and drove to the next town and went to Chicago and
Got back in there with the Macho
and
Man.
my mouth by the next day, it looked like I had a softball, like half a softball in my mouth. It was like this.
Holy.
And I'm sitting at the end of the, where you come walking in the back for the arena. We're at the United Center in Chicago.
Okay.
So I'm at the end of the ramp, and I'm sitting on one of those. You know, they take all the big sound cases and stuff for the speakers. So there's these huge big boxes, like, touring road shows, what we are. So I'm sitting on one of those boxes, and I'm just waiting there for him to show up. And finally he does, and he walks right up to me, looks at me, tilts his head, and goes, sorry, brother. And that was the end of it.
Yeah.
You know, it ain't checkers. You know?
All's well that ends well. So do you end up on television with that big welt on your face?
Yeah, but it was from a pay-per-view the night before, so I
good.
remember I had my shoulder, I had a black eye.
Yeah.
Randy and I really, when we went out there, we tore it down. So
Yeah. You gave me a lot to look up. I'm going to look up all this stuff tonight.
You'll see
when
it
I
all.
get home. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's fun stuff. I saw you jotted down.
Yeah, I wrote down Great American Bash.
You'll see me start to sit up and then go back down.
So does the match not end on TV?
No, it ends. It ends. He covers me. Like he covers me
gets
1,
the
2,
pin.
3. Scott picks his hands up.
Then you sit up.
Yeah, I sit up, but I go back down.
Right.
I didn't sit up and come. If I'd have stood up there and it was on TV, there'd be no forgiving that.
No.
No, it don't matter. You got
You
knocked
can't get
out.
away with middle fingers on
No.
on TV
No.
with kids and all that.
No,
well,
man, oh, man.
What I did was way worse than the middle finger.
Right.
Sitting up, just out of respect, So
Right.
It was-
Yeah. Destroys everything you guys are building. Well, look, DDP, I could talk to you about wrestling all night. You know that, but I'm going to let you get back to your life. I know you got a whole bunch of press happening. You got a bunch of press tomorrow you got to do. But everybody needs to check out a couple of things. If you got an iPhone, you can check them both out on iTunes.
Right.
Get the DDP Yoga app.
DDP Yoga now.
It's called DDP Yoga Now. It's out for iPhone, iPad,
Wow.
Android tablet,
Yep.
and for the computer.
Yep, everything. And all that just goes bloop to your TV. So now you got it.
You can just zap it right to the TV.
And now we got DDPY for kids. We got the chair thing that I came up with because of Arthur and Jake and Scott.
Right.
To help for your grandparents. There's a huge market out there for that. But if you got kids to grandparents, you got it all covered. And when I get that NFL player who literally is running for 200 or 300 yards this year, but has run for 1,000. And I can take them up to 12 or 1,300. Help them. That's the goal.
Right.
That's
That's my
when
dream
you
goal.
open up that world,
That's the
forget
dream
about it.
world,
We also, speaking of the NFL, a bunch of people tweeted in. BJ the Trucker, Max Corbin tweeted to at SR Show SXM Playmakers. That was the name of the show on
Playmakers,
ESPN.
that's what it was.
And they
Yeah.
said one season, one and
They
done.
were- they were
And
gone.
we're done. Hey, it's Sam Roberts. I hope you enjoyed that wrestling interview from Sam Roberts Wrestling Podcast. You can go to notsam.com to subscribe to that podcast. But I upload videos like that on this YouTube channel all the time. So if you don't already subscribe now. It's on the side of the page. I made it real easy. Click the button. Subscribe to the page. Subscribe to the page.